What was for you that, as we call it here, I'm not sure there, the rock bottom, the point where it's just like this shit has to stop.
Um, I got there was kind of it wasn't a particular moment, but there was quite a long period of time where um, my drinking really. I don't know if you guys know, but I lost my son in 2013. So my
Mm.
son suddenly died in his sleep, um, and he was 4.5 months old. So we called it cot death or sudden infant death syndrome. There's various names for it, and that was kind of the point in my life where my alcohol relationship changed from something that I wanted to do to something that I needed to do,
Yeah.
because everyone around me was flaking. My wife at the time, my parents, everyone was like broken. So I had to sort of pull myself together and crack on, with life. But someone told me these words, and they said, "Look, if you time is a healer." And I remember thinking, well, if time's a healer, drinking makes time go quick. And if I drink in 2 years' time, I'm just going to come out of this shit and be like a new man and ready to go. And obviously that didn't work. 5 years later, I was, broken and put on weight. I was, shit dad, shit guy, really. Not doing great things. That ended up costing me my marriage. Moved out of my family home that I'd worked so hard to kind of create and pay for. And then I was like sofa surfing around central London, not really knowing where I was going to sleep from one night to the next. So life went pretty shit pretty quickly. And that was kind of my rock bottom moment, when I thought this isn't, I was doing 2-3 day benders. I was, sniffing cocaine, doing anything I could get my hands on, basically, just kind of like had enough, lost all respect for myself. And then at that point, I had a pretty mad story, actually. I'd been to see a spiritualist when my son died, something that I thought it was just a load of shit. I didn't believe in it at the time. My mum used to go periodically. She used to come back and like crying and show me all these things and telling me all these things. And I just used to think like it was, obviously they're going to say your great nan wanted to speak to you or your great granddad wanted to speak to you, and like, all these people that were obviously dead. But they did tell me some like quite cool stories. But anyway, in an act of desperation, after my son died, and I went to see one, and that I had this amazing like half an hour with this woman. She just like told me he was there. Like, she didn't know who I was. She told me he's there. She told me he's a reoccurring spirit, and she told me lots of things about him, and it just made me feel so much better. And at the end of it, I, she held my hand, and I was like crying. She said to me, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, but I want to come back. When can I come back? Because this is the first time I felt like relief." And she held my hand and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Don't worry, if we need you, we'll come to you."
Hmm.
And anyway, fast forward these years later, when I'm sofa surfing around central London, standing outside a bar, and this guy just appeared out of nowhere. And again, I talk about this in my book, but he just came up to me in the middle of the street out of nowhere. I was standing outside my friend, and he just started telling me that I need to speak to you. You're doing too much. You're drinking. You're drugging. You're doing too much. You're a good guy. You've got a lot about you. You're going to live till you're 97. This is what he started telling me. I was close to a flower. My daughter's name is Lily. Telling me is like, you've got no brothers, but you've got sisters, two sisters, twin sister, and all this stuff that is completely true. And he said to me, you've got a lot going for you in your life. If you stop doing these bad habits, then you're going to live a long, healthy life, and you're going to help lots of people. And it was the first, and he just disappeared into thin air.
You didn't know
And
who
it,
this guy
it did.
was?
No one didn't know who he was. And luckily my friend was with me, because I think people would have thought I was just, mega drunk.
Yeah.
But it was for real. It happened, and he was there with me, and it was just crazy. And that was the first moment where at that point I was floating around, not really with any purpose. And he kind of gave me a sense of direction, and a bit of a reason for living, and kind of wake up call. And he also said to me that you're seeing a girl, something to do with K. I can see a K. You're seeing a girl, something to do with K. And I'd started seeing this girl called Kirsty, who I met on Tinder. And he was like, "She's good for you. You need to go with her. You need to go with her." And I ended up going, I called her up, met her, moved in a week later, and now we're married and expecting a baby. So that all came from that conversation, pretty much. So that was my rock bottom, but it was also my springboard back into life.